Hey there, everyone. This is Tim with the NFC North Monsters, bringing up to you the preview for the game tomorrow with the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. Just a quick preview tonight. Also, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers against the Minnesota Vikings and how things are going to look. I'm very excited about what's going to be happening tomorrow. Um, we'll see, hopefully, a really good game, a revenge game from the Bears' perspective to go up against the Minnesota. To go up against the Detroit Lions. We really do need to come out and get this win. It looks like the Packers are not going to be playing their starters for the most part, as they really don't have anything to play for. Their seating is set. They are number 7. Tonight we did see the Carolina Panthers fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No big shocker there. As both teams, like I've said in my last video, I don't think either team wants to actually win that division. Um, but yeah, so once again, still bear with me as I'm learning the nuances of the StreamYard application that I'm using. It's really good to use. It's very user friendly. It's just getting a little used to of all the buttons and everything since one man show, but that's all right. Let's dive into tonight as let's bring up the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers and who will play. More likely, who will not be playing. That's the thing here. Let's bring up the Packers injury list as it is quite extensive. As you can see here, we have numerous players out, uh, some doubtfuls as well. I do really expect to see a lot of the Packers players, like I said, just sit as they don't want to risk further injuries to some of their stars going into the first round playoffs. So I do not expect a whole lot of action as far as the Packers go, but they do have some very good depth players. So it'll be interesting to see if Malik Willis does actually play tomorrow. I do have doubts that he will. But once again, why not just get him out there? He was limited in practice there with the right shoulder and hamstring, but he is also possibly going into a money year for the offseason. So I can see them just not playing him for his own wealth and prosperity moving forward. So now on to what do the Vikings have for injuries and so on. Let's pull them up here real quick. So off the bat, TJ Hawkinson has been out all year with his injury with his shoulder. But interesting to see that JJ McCarthy was full go at practice on Thursday. This wasn't updated for yesterday, so I do not know if they are going to hold him out. But I have heard through other channels that they are planning on going with JJ McCarthy tomorrow. So I do not foresee him sitting on the bench unless it's a blowout and they just don't see anything to where they really need to risk JJ McCarthy going into the offseason, where there has been lots of questions surrounding JJ McCarthy. Will they pursue a high value quarterback out there in the trade market? Um, Obviously, I've seen some fairy tale ideas of a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is unhappy in Cincinnati, and Patrick Mahomes, well, the KC is going to be going into possibly a rebuild mode with Travis Kelsey more than likely looking at retirement. He does, have the Mr. Swift tag coming up here shortly, so we'll see if that happens. But, just once again, kind of perusing over their injuries here, nothing really stands out that's too big of a shocker of what's going to be happening with Minnesota. I do see them going full court press, as they say, with their starters, because I think they really do want to end the season on a high note, just like the Bears did last year, where we went to Green Bay, beat them in Green Bay in the season finale, and it really, I think, catapulted us into a positive off season, and I do believe that's kind of what Minnesota's looking to do as well, just to catapult them into the off season as far as on a positive note. So with that, now we have our game, the Chicago Bears versus. That is not the right one. We'll get that out of there. It is the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. Sorry about that error there. There we go. Easy fix. So let's take a peek at first and foremost the Detroit Lions and their injury report. It's a very long list, and look at all the outs up there. That is a considerable amount of outs. They're going to be short their captain and the linebacking core. He's out with a concussion and personal reasons. That personal reason is probably, I already have my tickets for Cancun. Please let me just leave now. My locker's already cleaned out. Their secondary is also going to be hurting with Thomas Harper out with another concussion. But their offensive line, that's the big issue here. Their offensive line is just decimated with injuries, as you can see there. Guards, tackles, O-line, just everyone that you could think of possibly as a starter or a backup rotational player hurt. They do have quite a few questionables there, but I guarantee Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play. He is a tough, gritty wide receiver. He got a lot of praise in the press conferences this week from Ben Johnson, just talking about his tenacity to go out there and play. But I would also probably see that Taylor Decker, the tackle there with the shoulder illness, he didn't practice and he was limited in practice all week. I'm betting that they're just going to err on the side of caution here and just let him rest and not even worry about it. But, once again, though, what's Detroit playing for here? Same thing. They want to get off this losing streak. They want to go into the offseason where they're already talking about huge amounts of changes. Dan Campbell himself is just, it seems like that they're going to be pursuing new coaches. And also, I mean, this gentleman, Dan Campbell, he's a phenomenal head coach. He definitely cares about his players, and he will definitely try to make some changes to his coaching staff to make them better for next year. So with all that, now let's look at the Chicago Bears and what our injuries look like. It has looked a lot better than in previous weeks. It's probably the shortest I've seen in quite a while. Obviously, we've did some roster moves today. We brought up a tight end and a linebacker. The linebacker came from the Detroit Lions practice squad, and he also has playing time with the Green Bay Packers. Summers is his name. He will be more of a special teams type player unless an injury does pop up. He does have some decent build, and I do feel like he can contribute, but I think more along the lines of special teams. I don't really feel like he's going to be a huge part of the defensive scheme going into this game. Jaquan Brisker, he was sick. I hope he remains sick. I have not been very high on Jaquan Brisker this year. as injuries have plagued him for the huge majority of his playing career. Nick McLeod also out sick. Those two, I do not feel are going to be contributors as much as one would hope or like. I don't even think Jaquan Brisker's playing for a contract at this point, unless he does come back and he has a phenomenal game. But realistically, I think we're going to be seeing the last of Jaquan Brisker here shortly in Chicago. The interesting one on our report is Roma Dunze. What do we do here? Do we bring him back out? He didn't practice for the majority of the week, and they came back in a limited fashion yesterday. I do believe my guess here is that they're going to let him sit again for another game and just let him be 100% or as close to 100% going into that Green Bay game, which means more than this game. Even though we are playing for seeding, uh, I I feel like we really need to push for this number 2 seed. Number 3, I think, is going to have a harder road to the Super Bowl than the number 2 seed, because I said it in the last video, number 2 is almost as good as the number 1 seed in this year's playoffs, because tonight the Seahawks are playing the 49ers, who have just looked downright fantastic on offense, but their defense is horrible. So if there's a team right now that can come back and probably smack the 49ers in the mouth and make a push, it would probably be the Seahawks, because the Seahawks, I feel, are a little more well-rounded, same as the Rams. The NFC West is honestly, I think, that the toughest division right now in this season as far as overall records. But needless to say, we also have Ozzy Trapillo on this report. He has a knee quad injury that he's dealing with. He is listed as questionable. I mean, we could easily toss in the Canadian Eagle here to go over and play left tackle. He's had playing time there just as much as Ozzy. So we could definitely do a trade-off there. But the highlights of, thank goodness they're back, we have Luther Burden III. This kid has been lights out, probably one of the best picks besides Colston Loveland in that NFL draft. Manungai, probably number 3. I mean, Ryan Poles as a whole did a pretty good job on that draft, although I do feel like he still needs to go after a quality defensive end, a nice edge rusher, somebody to help out a Montez Sweat. Because if you're not, you just need to move on from Sweat. I do not feel like the Bears need to go after Max Crosby. I feel like the payment to get a Max Crosby style player is going to be more than what you want. I saw a nice report earlier today about how much the Bears actually gave up to move up that one spot back to get Mitchell Trubisky. That was a lot of draft picks for Mitchell Trubisky, when we could have just waited and maybe drafted Patrick Mahomes. Granted, Patrick Mahomes probably would never have been Mahomes in Chicago because we had John Fox. The offensive scheme wasn't to the likings of a Patrick Mahomes style player. Although, that being said, though, Fox did wind up getting fired later that year. So there's always what could have been. But we are in now, which is the best situation ever for us, as Caleb Williams, the man, the Iceman, as he is now dubbed in Chicago, is moving towards some Bears records here. And will he do it? I mean, how big is 4,000 yards to a franchise that's never had one? Huge. But does it matter? No, because I think we all agree at the end of the day that we do need the win more than we need the record. I absolutely love Caleb Williams. He is such a phenomenal player to watch. He brings a lot of excitement to the field and to what he does. it's just he's such a great player, and I absolutely enjoy watching him. He is definitely the franchise of this quarterback or of this team. So sorry for stumbling around tonight. I was trying to hopefully not be as error ridden as I was in my first show, but I'll get there. This is a learning curve, but also we have such a great team, such a great opportunity here, and I really feel like we have this game just right in our grasp, and we just really, really need to finish strong, get the win, have that momentum going into the playoffs, get that number 2 seed, and host the Green Bay Packers the following week. And then from there, we'll see how the chips fall. I mean, we could be looking at the Rams beating the Eagles in Philadelphia. It's not a long shot there. That is a strong possibility. But if that were to happen, we'd be facing the Rams in the divisional round. But also, if the Seahawks win tonight, as they'll be the number 1 seed, there's also a possibility that the 49ers could slip all the way down from a 5th seed to a 6th seed if they lose tonight and the Rams win tomorrow. So if the Rams win, they become the 5th seed, and they would be going to probably Carolina, where they'll mop the floor with the Panthers. And if not, it'd be the 49ers going to Carolina, and they will also just trounce that team. So, also, we have Mr. Ben Johnson, who is, I think, arguably one of the greatest head coaches that we could ever have in Chicago. He fits us. He fits the city well. He does everything well. Ben Johnson, lights out. Couldn't be happier that he is a head coach of the Chicago Bears. What else is at stake for tonight? Got the number 1 seed, the NFC West champion. I'm hoping it's Seattle. It's currently 0-0. It's on in the background over here. It's just started. But Bears coming in at the number 2 seed, gotta have it. Eagles, they can stay at the number 3 seed and face either the Rams or the 49ers. And hopefully those two teams just beat each other up and we move on. But if the Rams win, the Rams will go to, as a 6th seed, will then go to the Seahawks, and then we would get the 49ers. So, possible rematch with the 49ers and Soldier Field, which wouldn't hurt my feelings for a nice little revenge game. See Brock Purdy do the Dougie and get creamed, hopefully, in Chicago if that were to happen. But all in all, there's some great football coming up. I'm going to get to watch in this game here to see who comes out victorious. But this is Tim with the NFC North Monsters. Please hit that like button and please subscribe for any upcoming shows that I'm going to be doing. Haven't decided if I'm going to do a show tomorrow after the game or if I'm going to do it on Tuesday. So that way, kind of let all the dust settle, all the games play out, and see where the seating is. But once again, Tim from NFC North Monsters. Let's go and bear down.